everyone. Welcome to the Veterinary Business Podcast, your ultimate resource for developing a successful veterinary practice and career. I'm Ryan Davies, Digital Marketing Advisor of Ekwa Marketing, and one of the co-hosts of the Veterinary Business Podcast. On this podcast, we bring you insights and expertise from industry-leading doctors, experts, and thought leaders. We cover a wide range of topics, including practice management, marketing strategies, leadership development, HR practices, and much more. Whether you're a practicing veterinarian, a practicing owner, a practice manager, or a student studying to become a veterinarian, this podcast is tailored to help you navigate the unique challenges and opportunities in the business of veterinary medicine. Every listener to this podcast is welcome to visit www.veterinarybusinessinstitute.com for additional resources and tools to help support your growth. And remember, you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and other popular podcast platforms. Today, I am excited to talk to Naren Arulrajah, the founder of Veterinary Business Podcast, CEO of Ekwa Marketing, about Google Ads versus Google Organic. Naren, thanks so much.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here, Ryan. Let's jump in. This is a favorite topic of mine. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, I think this will be a fun one. A lot of people always ask this question, right? Google Ads versus organic. What is it? What does it mean? Kind of a little bit of back around that, but maybe I'll let you give a brief background on ads versus organic, and then we can kind of dive in a little bit further.
Absolutely. So when you go in and type in something on a Google search, so let's say I'm looking for shots for my pet, and I'm just starting to Google about that. I'm trying to learn about the topic. I'm trying to figure out who can help me with that. So they type in the keyword they're looking for, and then what happens is either you see results organically, meaning it's not an ad, you just see certain veterinary practices listed near the top of Google. It could be on the maps, or it could be, on regular search, or you might see some ads. So when you see somebody without that particular practice owner paying for ads, that's called organic marketing, SEO, search engine optimization. When you see them as an ad, that's Google Ads. Some people call it pay per click.
Perfect. And I think that's a great, the great definition between the two. And as you mentioned, when someone's organically, they're not paying for that appearance there. When they are appearing as an ad, they have to pay for that, right? But getting to the top of Google organically still has a cost associated to it, because you got to put time and effort and, have the right team behind you to get you there. But even when you factor everything in between the two, it's fairly well known, Google Organic is going to provide you 5 to 10 times more, sometimes even higher ROI versus Google Ads. So why is that?
That's a great question, right? I'll answer it in two ways. One is Google made $224 billion in 2022. In 2023, I guarantee, I'll bet my life on it, Google is going to make more than $224 billion. Because why? Every single year, Google makes more money than they did in the last year. They have been doing it for 25 years. They have somebody called shareholders, and these shareholders want more profits, right? That's why they keep the CEO. His job or her job is to make them more money every year compared to the prior year. So Google has to continue to make more money. So the way they do that is they make sure that 95% of businesses, including veterinary practice owners, have no choice but to advertise, right? How do they create a situation where you have no choice but to advertise? They make sure the people who are getting free traffic is less than 5%. So imagine, right? There are 100 veterinary practices, 5 people will get all the free traffic. The other 95 have to give money to Google so that they get new patients or new clients. So that's one reason. So the economics, business model, Google has to make more money every year, but the population of all the developed countries is not growing, it's shrinking. So even though our populations are shrinking, Google still has to make more money. So they charge more, they make SEO harder. So the people who are getting free traffic now stop getting free traffic, so they have to go and give Google money. Now, on a psychological level, why Google Ads are 5 to 10 times more expensive than organic is based on two factors. One is called intention, and one is called trust. Intention is we type in what we are looking for, right? That's the power of Google. You are looking for flame sushi, you Google flame sushi, and all the places that offer flame sushi shows up. By the way, I have two girls and they love sushi, and I guess nowadays they like flame sushi. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I know what it is, but I guess people today, they want specialists, right? They don't just want to go to a sushi restaurant, they want to go to a particular type of sushi restaurant. Same way, they are looking for specialists, perhaps based on the breed, perhaps based on the issue they think their pet has, whatever the case might be. So they're Googling it, and that's called intention. So Google SEO has intention. Google Ads, on the other hand, there's intention, right? Because the ad is showing up next to the keyword. So both SEO and ads have intention. The only difference between SEO and ads is we use Google 8.5 billion times a day, 8.5 billion times a day.
Wow.
None of us are using Google to see the ads. We are using to see the free organic results. Right. So when we see that free organic result, we trust it. We take it more seriously. When we see the ad, the immediate thought in our mind is, what's the catch? Because everybody knows anyone who's willing to pay Google money can run an ad. They don't even have to be a veterinarian. Google doesn't check whether you have a license to practice veterinary medicine even, right? They'll just take your money. They don't care, right? That's because it's too cumbersome for them to check every single person to make sure that they can even advertise. So people know that. People know that even a hack who's not even a veterinarian technically could buy an ad on Google. So because of that doubt, the average person, right? Some might be more, some might be less, who come through search engine optimization will give you 90 seconds. The average person who comes through Google Ads will give you 15 seconds. So when you have 90 seconds, when you're giving a website 90 seconds, you're really looking to find reasons where the website, in this case you, the practice owner, can convince them that you are the right choice for them. When you're giving 15 seconds, remember the reason you're even giving 15 seconds is because you have doubt. You're looking for a reason to get out. You're looking for a reason to leave the website. So, just do simple math. Divide 90 by 15, 6. So literally, you at least will need 6 times more individuals who come from ads to equal one person who come from SEO. And one person wants to be given a reason to buy. The other person wants to find a reason to leave your website. So the one who wants to find a reason to buy is more likely to buy, versus the one who wants to find a reason to leave is less likely to buy. That's the other reason why Google Ads at least 5 times. And usually Google Ads, get more and more expensive over time. SEO gets less and less expensive because we are building on what we did the first year in year 2. We are building on what we did in the first 2 years in year 3. So typically, I've done this for 17 years with veterinary practice owners. We find for the same, cost, their results continue to get better year after year with SEO. So that's why over time, that number doesn't stay at 5, it becomes 10, could even become 15 or 20 compared to ads. So you are literally putting $1 into organic. Let's say you get $50 back. To get the same $50 back, you might have to put, $25 into ads. So, hey, do you want to put $1 into organic or $25 into ad to get the same results?
Yeah. I think it's great, a really good comparison between the two, the cost between them. I always like to consider the fact too, when a Google ad goes down, it's gone, right? It's lights on, lights off, right? Whereas that SEO is going to stay and stay the course for you from that. When we're talking about all of these reasons, though, Google ads are, you said, it's almost $250 billion. I'll bet you this year it is going to be $250 billion in 2023 in terms of, the revenue from it. Why are Google ads still so popular?
Absolutely. Google SEO is like getting into the top university in the world, right? Let's say Stanford, right? Less than 1% get into Stanford. The question you're asking me is, how come all the other schools are popular? Well, the 99% have no choice. So when you don't have any choice to rank on Google, to be in the top 5%, by the way, how do you know you're in the top 5%? You will rank for 100 or more keywords. With regards to Google, meaning you will be on page 1 for 100 or more keywords. So the 95% who will never get into the top 5% of SEO and get all the free traffic have no choice but to advertise on Google Ads. That's why Google Ads are more popular. It's like checkmate. You want new clients? Well, buy Google Ads.
Yeah.
Because people give up. They try, it doesn't work, they give up. But we're going to kind of uncover the secrets today on how you can get into the top 5% of Google SEO. So you don't have to pay 5 to 10 times more in Google Ads.
And I think that, again, like what's the saying, nothing easy or nothing hard is worth it, right? Like, it's so hard to do it. You got to really, you got to be dedicated to it. And that Google Ads gives you that shortcut, right? So, in your experience, obviously, there's lots of people that are still using Google Ads, and I'm sure, you've seen it happen. But from your clients' experience, are they using Google Ads? And, if so, is there a good time to use Google Ads?
That's a great question. So we work with close to 500 doctors. We only work with small practices. We don't typically work with DSOs, for example, or, like large organizations like private equity that's buying up, dozens and dozens of veterinary practices. We don't do that. So when we work with, these 1 doctor, 2 doctor, 3 doctor, small practices, they are not funded by private equity. So they don't have like $500,000 to throw at, ads or marketing, or $1 million to throw at ads or marketing every year. So they are very, very careful with their pennies. So of course, the minute they understand SEO is, 5 times less expensive or 10 times less expensive than ads, that's what they want to dominate. So I know we'll get to it later on. There is this method to the madness. Some kids do get into Stanford. Some kids do get into the top veterinary school. They exist. They have a method on how to do that. Of course, is it 100% guaranteed? No, at least in terms of Stanford. But when it comes to SEO, yes, there's a 100% guaranteed way to get into the top 5%. So our clients, fortunately, all 500 of them, by the time they finish year 1, are ranking for minimum 100 keywords and phrases on the top of Google search results. Again, let me say this again. 100% of them, by the time they finish year 1, are ranking for 100 keywords or more on page 1, meaning the top 10 Google results. So if you are in that position, if you are in the top 5%, you are the person who's in Stanford, right? Using that analogy, or the top veterinary school. Will you still go and pay 10 times more to get another patient, even though you can get the same patient? You're already getting the same patient for 1/10 the cost. The answer is no. So less than 5% of my clients at any given time are using Google Ads. And the reason is they only use it strategically, but they don't want to keep spending 5 or 10 times more when they don't have to forever and ever and ever. So what do I mean by strategic? 2 examples where they do it. One is a startup. So instead of buying a practice for $1 million, they might say, well, I don't mind, even though it's 10 times more expensive than SEO, I don't mind giving Google money for ads because it's still cheaper than me buying that practice. That's one example. Startup practices need a lot of clients quickly, and it's okay for them in some cases to spend 5 to 10 times more money to acquire those patients as opposed to buy those patients by acquiring a practice. The second case I have seen it is strategically, like, there might be certain procedures or services where the profit is significant. So even if you're spending $200 to acquire that patient through Google Ads, but you're making $600, some business owners will say, they do the math equation. Okay, $600 profit, $200 expense. I'll spend the $200, even though SEO might only cost me $30 for the same patient.
And I think, that really kind of sums it up very nicely in terms of, why you would use it. It does still have a purpose, right? But I think people misuse that, right? Again, they're using it for the shortcuts instead of, putting in the hard work for SEO and then dominating and having higher ROI, and taking that route. But I know this pivots us slightly off of the topic, but I think a lot of our listeners are going to want to talk about this or hear about this as well. Is, how about the world of Meta, right? So we've covered Google, but what about Facebook and Instagram ads, and how do they compare to Google ads? Are they a better option, or what's your take on that?
That's a great question, right? Facebook has totally changed after TikTok. See, TikTok is a machine that is an AI computer, right? Think of it like this massive computer with, millions and millions of computers all put together. You know what AI is, right? It's artificial and it's intelligent. It hacks your brain. So what it's doing is it's understanding what videos can I show that'll make you want to watch more TikTok. That's simple. It's looking at how long you're watching, how fast you're scrolling. So let's say it shows you a video and you quickly scroll out. It's not going to show a video like that video again to you. Why? Because it wants you to be addicted to TikTok. And the reason they want that is it's a simple business model, right? The more time is spent on TikTok, the more ads TikTok can show you. Instagram now is exactly like TikTok, if you really think about it. They are using AI to hack your brain to get you to spend more time on Instagram. Facebook is, again, the same thing. They're all the same, right? So the way Google's business works is they need those people like us who are good at SEO, or like you who are good at SEO, because people go to Google to find those organic results. So they need SEO.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're throttling it. They're saying, yes, we will support 5% of you. So you have to be in the top 5%, then you win. But the other 95% gives us ad money. Perfect business model. They make, 224 billion, right? In 2022. So Facebook, on the other hand, they also make, I think 100 billion plus. They make money by getting you to spend more time, right? So if you are in the old days, everybody said, oh, I have a Facebook page. You're going to get business from Facebook. Even Mark Zuckerberg said it when he launched Facebook. He said, hey, you guys should have a business page. If you have a page, 20% of the people who like you, your Facebook page will get free traffic, right? In other words, you post something, let's say you have 1,000 people who like you, at least 200 people will see that post you made. Now, not even 1% see those posts. Why? Because they need to make more money. And the way they make more money is get you addicted to spending more time on Instagram or TikTok or whatever the social media platform. And the way they get you addicted is through influencer marketing. So who are the influencers? They are the ones who create content that 1 million people watch, 10 million people watch, 20 million people watch. And I have 500 doctors I work with. 1% of my clients fall into that influencer bucket. So if you're in that 99%, and I'll define an influencer, you spend 15 to 20 hours a week doing videos by yourself. You become a celebrity, where by spending that 15 to 20 hours a week thinking about your audience, creating videos for them every single week, you become like a tiny Oprah, right? 100,000 followers on Instagram, 200,000 followers on TikTok, etc., etc. But what I'm noticing is 99% of my clients don't want to do that, right? Like, you can't outsource, organic social media. You can't outsource Instagram. You can't outsource TikTok organic traffic. But if you're in that 1%, and by the way, the other characteristic of these 1% of my clients is they have a product they can sell to the entire country. Usually they might sell, some kind of medication or books or things like that. So their customers are not coming from a small radius, which is what SEO is all about. Rather, they're coming from the entire nation. So if you are a celebrity doctor and you're willing to spend 15 to 20 hours and you have something to sell to the entire country, then social media works for you. If you are not that, the only option for you is ads. Like you asking me, Ryan, how does Facebook and Instagram ads compare to Google ads? So Facebook and Instagram ads are 2 to 3 times more expensive than even Google ads. Remember, Google ads is 5 to 10 times more expensive than SEO. This is 2 to 3 times even more expensive than Google ads. The reason is there's neither intention nor trust. Remember, when people are on Instagram, they just are tired. In the old days, I know I'm 48, I'm dating myself. When I'm tired, I would go and sit in front of the TV and just play with my remote. Today, that is Instagram or that is TikTok. Just take your phone and you're flipping through the news feed and you're just seeing the stuff it keeps showing you, right? All of a sudden, your ad shows up. You're not interested because you're watching a TV, video clip that Kim Kardashian put out or whatever, whoever the celebrity or whoever that TikTok influencer is, right? Now, all of a sudden, this ad shows up for something you're not interested in, so you're going to ignore it. So most people will click out within 1 second. That's why the average is 5 seconds. Now, compare 90 seconds, the amount of time they're spending on SEO, 15 seconds, the amount of time they're spending on average if they come through Google Ads, and 5 seconds if they're coming through social media, right? The person who's there for 5 seconds is not going to be sold. They don't show up. You have a massive no-show issue. And because you need to have 18, 20 times more people to get the same outcomes, you need to spend more money. Yep. So that's why Instagram and Facebook ads are even more expensive than Google ads.
I love the thought process of, if you were to get onto an elevator with somebody else in your building who has a dog and you're like, hey, here, I could ask the question about who their vet is, right? And possibly talk to them. If you were comparing it, social media, it's like you're traveling one floor. You have one floor to talk to them, right? You got to be real quick to do that. on Google Ads, you've got 3 floors. You got a little bit more time to have that conversation. But if you're on Google, you're going to the 18th floor to have a conversation about them and their dog and their lives. You have a really good chance to be able to take advantage of that, right? So think about that as kind of that comparison, that timeline, that conversation to be had when we're talking about those 3 different processes there. But then, again, just making sure we cover all of them here, because we don't want to just talk maybe only about digital marketing. There's tons of other offers, right? Radio and mailers and flyers and all these things that you can do. How does that stack up in this world as well?
That's a great question. See, we all know this. 95% of new patients today come from digital marketing, new clients for a vet practice. So 5% are coming from radios, mailers, and all the traditional marketing. The reason is internet fundamentally changed everything, right? In the old days, the power was with the business owners, not the consumers. So imagine the person who buys the full page ad on Yellow Pages, right? In the old days, you want a vet, you have to go to your Yellow Pages, or you have to be lucky enough to see a billboard for a vet, and you might, oh yeah, there's a vet, right there, and it's a huge billboard, and you drive to the practice. So in other words, the guys with the big bucks, right? I'm sure we all know that, personal injury lawyer who spends $500,000 in town, right? The businesses with the big bucks to dominate got all the business, and everybody else got nothing, right? Like if you are like a one-line listing in your Yellow Pages, you probably got 0 new patients. This is something that I guess anybody who's 45 plus will understand what I'm talking about. But in today's world, the world is totally different. It's today people look for information they need, look for businesses they need. They don't have to hope and pray to see a billboard to find a vet. They don't have to hope and pray that somebody sends them a mailer, and that mailer is going to have a vet's information, and then they can call the vet, right? They can just flip through their cell phones, which is in their pockets 24 hours a day, more so than even their significant other, and they can ask that thing in their pocket any question they want, whether it's a vet or whether it's a particular service a vet offers, right? So things have fundamentally changed. The problem with radio, so in that world of overload of information, right? And they're getting, like, I think 20 times more information. You need to touch somebody like 30 times before they'll take action. So if you are a personal injury lawyer and you have $1 million budget, you can dominate radio, you can dominate mailers, you can dominate billboards. And yeah, you can touch them. And I know this crazy personal injury law firm, they have a really bad reputation, because I know some lawyers also, and they like, these are like sleazy people. I'm not going to name any names in my community, that the ads are all over the place and they spend millions and millions of dollars. If you don't have that kind of money, you're wasting time, because you cannot be there all the time to get them to remember you. So I really think it doesn't work. There are a few exceptions, just like ads, there were a few exceptions. One exception is, go and sponsor events where a lot of pet owners go, right? Because now it's full of pet owners and you're supporting that event, and they like that event, and they're going to like you because you're supporting that event, right? But it's going to take a lot of effort from your part and planning and so forth. The only challenge with this even is that, like at that moment they're at the event, they may not need a vet. So when they need a vet 6 months later, they don't remember you. They don't remember your phone number. So let's say you might see 100 people, you might get 2 new clients. So, but it's not a bad way. Or you could network, and everybody knows you run a veterinary practice and you're part of a networking group, and every month you show up, and over a 20-year period, you get to know these business owners, and they're like, oh yeah, you should go to that person. So they run let's say a spa or a salon, and they're like, oh yeah, I have a pet and I take it to Jenny's, Dr. Jennifer, she's amazing, and blah, 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 right? So those are strategies where the traditional marketing works, like where you're going after communities for vets, or you are, like leveraging networking and so forth.
I think that makes complete sense. Like, we don't jump in the car when our toilet backs up or our sink breaks to go, I hope I pass a billboard with a plumber, or we go upstairs and flip through the mail and hope something's there, right? Same sort of a thing in this world. A lot of times there's emergencies or there's questions, whatever it is, we want the answers to them as well to make sure we're doing it all. So it just makes sense from that side. And I think that's the key to, why practice owners, doctors need to dominate Google Organic, because it's going to be the cheapest and the most cost efficient and the longest term. I mean, the benefits just continue on and on from that perspective, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you a question. I think you already said you are a marketing strategist. I bet people heard that.
Yep.
So let me brag on Ryan a bit. Ryan is the one that every doctor who's a veterinary practice owner talks to before they ever engage with us. We are pretty picky on who we take on. And the reason is we want to know where the client is at, and we want the client to know where the client is at. And then we want to share with them a roadmap. So what Ryan does is he does what's called a marketing strategy meeting. And in that marketing strategy meeting, he would spend 6 hours kind of studying your marketing, your SEO, your landing pages, all the things that's going to make 2024 great for you from a marketing new client standpoint. And then he's pretty blunt. He will tell you, hey, you're getting an A for this, one of the 6 things Google cares about with regards to SEO. You're getting an F here. And he'll give you a complete thorough report card. So he spent 6 hours doing that prior to the marketing strategy meeting. And not only that, he will also give you a 12-month plan. Remember, I said, you are in the top 5% if you're ranking for 100 or more keywords on page 1 of Google. So he'll give you a 12-month plan on how to do that, like how to work on the 6 things Google cares about. So you are in the top 5%. Anyways, I don't want to take Ryan's thunder away. Ryan, let me ask you this.
Sure.
So we all agree that if you have a choice, you should dominate SEO. If you don't have a choice, then like everybody else, spend money on Google ads.
Right.
But if you have a choice, you should dominate SEO. And let's say there's somebody who's a long-term thinker. I mean, I think all doctors are long-term thinkers because, why else would they spend, a long time to become doctors? I know it's a better life and you get to do what you love, work with pets and so forth, but it's a slug. I mean, not everybody gets to go into veterinary school. You have to be at the top, and then you have to go grind it out and finish the program, which is a long program. So they are long-term thinkers. So here is a person, long-term thinker, saying, you know what, I don't want to keep paying for the rest of my life 5 to 10 times more with Google Ads. I want to dominate SEO. What do they need to do to dominate SEO, Ryan?
It's a great question. I appreciate all the kind words, and it's absolutely right. You got to know where you are today to get to the top of Google. And as you mentioned earlier, there's this report card, getting into Stanford, getting into veterinary school, getting into the top, right? Google's got the same thing. It's this report card that you have to be able to ace with straight A's across the board. And if you're not getting straight A's in certain categories, it does dilute your rankings or completely wipes you off the map altogether, right? So you want to make sure that there's 6 key categories. It's really, a 1,000-piece puzzle, if you will. And sometimes those pieces aren't even flipped the right way, or you don't have the picture of what you're putting together necessarily. But there's 6 big pieces that make up that full puzzle, right? And that's, your Google Lighthouse, which is sort of your audit score for how well does your site perform in accessibility and things like that. Your NAP, which is your name, address, and phone number consistency. Is it the same everywhere? Are you having original, unique content that speaks to your audience, to your part of the country, where you are and what you're trying to achieve, not templated, copied content, because it doesn't necessarily show that you're an expert. You're just really good at copying someone else's expertise, right? Google wants to drive, again, as you mentioned, those organic listings. Their job is to pre-vet out what should be at the top so that when people click there, they know it's a safe, secure, quick site that does all of these things and answers the questions they're looking for. So you need to have that original content there so you have something unique to offer. Do you have white hat, high quality external backlinks, not just high in number, but are they what you're looking for from that standpoint? Do you have Google reviews, a lot of reviews, and love letter reviews, not just a bunch of 5-star sends and things like that, but we're talking about the quantity and quality and velocity of the Google reviews that speak to who you are, who they saw, what type of animal you had, what treatment you had, and how that positive sentiment behind why other people should bring their pets to you, right? That's really, as a pet owner, I mean, I've got enough of them kicking around here, one sleeping on my foot on this side. So, I could tell you, like, that's what's important to me is I'm going to look at who do I trust, who should I go to? And I want to see those quality love letter reviews that speak to the service I'm looking to, right? Like if I'm looking for a small dog or a big dog or a horse or whatever it is, I need to know that this is what you treat, right? And then that kind of comes back to the final one, which is Google EAT, which is the acronym that stands for expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness, right? So do you have expertise in the area, unique original content expertise? Do you have authority or credentials? Do you speak of it, at a level that people can understand? We don't want to talk at way above their head. We want it at that grade 5 education so that when they come there, they feel comfortable. And then again, that trustworthiness. Great, you got those reviews and you've got those testimonials, but are you showcasing that on the page that people are being driven to, right? So Lighthouse, NAP, original content, backlinks, reviews, and Google Eat are your 6 that make up the biggest part of the report card.
Thank you, Ryan. I know you spend 6 hours, studying this for every meeting you have. And then, of course, you share it, thoroughly. So literally you show them, okay, this is what NAP is. This is how well you are doing or how poorly you are doing. Here is the evidence for that, right?
Yeah.
So do that one by one. So the beauty of that is like, I know we are doing this at perfect time, New Year, and it's our New Year's gift, a $900 value.
Yep.
The practice owner now knows in these 6 areas, where do I stand? And then they get a plan, almost like a study plan to get into Stanford, get into the top 5%, like a 12-month plan. And whether you work with us or some other company, doesn't matter, but just take the plan and get it done.
Yeah, that's what's really important, right? Is take that time and go through and understand where you're at. Some of this stuff you can lift and shift. If you're doing it yourself, right? And some people are, now you know what you're missing and what you need to add and what you need to do, right? Hey, how are my Lighthouse scores doing? And it's not a Lighthouse score for your domain. Every page on your site, mobile and desktop, has its own Lighthouse audit score, right? So how is it technically performing? Is it fully accessible? Under the American Disabilities Act, it's enshrined in there. Just like your building has to be accessible so everybody can access it, so does your website. Is it enabled for screen readers? Do videos have closed captioning? Is the contrast ratio right? So if people are colorblind, can they see everything on the page, right? On mobile, are the tap targets the right size? So people can actually tap where they're going. Your NAP consistency, this is one that drives me crazy because it's so tedious to be able to do. But if you were at 123 East Lake Street for your address, and you have 123 E Lake ST, 123 East Lake Street spelled, 123 E Lake Street spelled, Suite 1, those are all different addresses, right? So you can have dozens of different online profiles, and you probably do ones that you don't even know about. And Google takes that, is it consistent and appearing everywhere the same way, right? We talked about the original content and the importance of it, and really that Google Eat, dive into your site and take this so that you can take this plan and either say, hey, you know what? I'm so glad I have this. Now I know where I stand. I'm happy. I'm unhappy. And then on top of that, great, I'm unhappy. What does that plan look like? And how can I get to the top of Google and get that, like you said, those 100 keywords in 12 months time, so that I'm getting those new client calls, I'm seeing those new pets coming through the door, and then word is getting out through the reviews, through everything else. It's just this marketing machine that SEO builds for you that provides this incredible inbound marketing that is such high value, long customer client lifetime values behind it. So you really got to make sure you know where each of those 6 elements are, and at a fairly granular level. And it's great to talk about them and go over them, but to have them for your practice is what really means the most. Is, hey, look, I don't need to know how everybody's doing in this. I know how I'm doing. What is my Lighthouse score? Do I have the right Google Eats score? Is my how original is my content? All of those sorts of comments. So yes, definitely, it's the key to success is building that foundation.
I know you have to go, Ryan. As we bring this to a close, if somebody is interested in booking a marketing strategy meeting, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely take advantage of it. It's on the Veterinary Business Institute website. So veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM. So for a marketing strategy meeting /Ryan. And there you'll see me, you'll see my face, you'll see my calendar. You can book it. If you're right now driving, you're trying to figure, it's a lot to take down. I'll even go one step further. You can call or text me, even if you just have a quick question and say, you know what, I have something before I learn this whole, spend that time with you, because it is an hour of time to go through. You can call me 204-898-0528. Call or text. Definitely is a great way to get a couple questions answered. But I think the best strategy, veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM/Ryan. Book the time. You'll be glad you did. I promise you will have fun for an hour, and you'll really get a great understanding of where you're at today and where you want to get to. Perfect. I think, Naren, I think that's a great place to kind of close it off today. We started with Google Ads versus Google Organic, but I think we covered so much more than that, including just, all of the different strategies that are out there, and really what's going to be the best. And again, how to tailor that approach for each practice. Thank you so much, Naren, for joining us today and talking about Google Ads versus Google Organic. Really appreciate it very much. Take a moment here at the end. Thank our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we can't do what we do without you. If you like the podcast, please kindly share it with your colleagues, your friends on social media, and please don't forget to leave us a review on your favorite platform. Your reviews, as we just discussed, it helps other doctors and practice owners find us, learn more about us, and become better practice owners. So until next time, keep striving for excellence, make a positive impact in the lives of your patients and pet parents, and we wishing you all an amazing week ahead.